Good afternoon, Abilene Startup Community. What a great turnout we've had today. Appreciate everybody coming. It's good to see some new faces, old faces, and I'm excited about our featured business speaker today. I will, if you weren't completely paying attention to the video, I'll rehash some of the introduction, but not much. And then we'll get into it. So as you know, Venture Call's mission is to encourage, educate, and equip. And so today we're here with Gina Allen, Big Country Coffee, to hear a story of someone starting a business, starting a entrepreneurship as an encouragement. So we're just going to get into her story and a little bit about her business, the opportunities that she saw, and go from there. If we have time at the end, we will take a few questions, so we'll have a little Q&A session. But other than that, I want to introduce you to Gina Allen with Big Country Coffee. She is a mother of two children, 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. What were their names?
Peter and Oliver.
Peter and Oliver, and husband to the extrovert Trevor Allen with Abilene Walkeny Tour, as some of you may know him. And so already has some entrepreneurship surrounding her, but she has decided to jump off into this venture. I will tell you that this is a topic that I love. I'm kind of jazzed about today's conversation and interview, just because words, I think, go underrated, especially in the world of business and marketing. Everybody thinks it's about the media or where you're showing up at, or video and images and all that. And behind all of that are words. And there's a quote, I'm not sure exactly who said it, but words are free. It's how you use them that could cost you. And so there is value to me in someone that is a wordsmith and can craft what you say. And of course, there's the cliche that the pen is mightier than the sword. And so copywriting to me is a very powerful thing for any venture or industry, but especially if you want to get your message out to your audience. So with that being said, tell us in your own words, Gina, what is Big Country Coffee?
Yeah. So Big Country Coffee, I started it last month, so very new, but working on website copy, blog posts, email sequences, and just using, like you said, I think you said it perfectly, but just using words and people's emotions, what naturally motivates people, the desires that they already have, to motivate them, persuade them to either buy something or to opt in to your email service or whatever you're trying to get out there. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's good. So what are the opportunities that you saw that motivated you to jump into copywriting and starting this business?
Yeah, well, I've always been interested with marketing and just what things people kind of gravitate towards, what things people, I don't really like social media a ton, but it is a good opportunity to kind of test some things, test your wording. And so like what things people like, what things that people engage with. And so with him doing the walking tour, he is very involved with the downtown community and the businesses that happen downtown. And so I just saw a lot of their websites, and he promotes them on the walking tour, but just a lot of their websites being either outdated or just some of their wording is just not very engaging or fun. And so I was just like, man, I would love to like delve more into this and just help people. Yeah.
So seeing the opportunity and jumping into this, seeing the vehicle to drive this business and build a business around it. What did you have to do to prepare to start your business? You started a month ago, but I imagine there was some legwork and things that you had to dig in and position yourself in order to offer the services that you're going to offer.
Yeah, so I learned about copywriting probably the end of last year, the beginning of this year, and I did a course that was online, and it was pretty intensive, and she took you through like every single thing, like even just like the business side of thing, but the side of the business side, and then also like the copywriting side. So that took me like 4 months to go through all of that and just practice. And I was able to practice with the walking tour even, and on the website there, and help a nonprofit that I have a friend that owns a nonprofit, so helping him. So that was kind of like more of the behind the scenes. I didn't know when I was gonna start really, but I felt ready like in June.
So the opportunity, prepared for it, but what's the why? What's the motivation for starting this business really?
So before I was working, like I said, I was working at a nonprofit, and since college, I've always worked at nonprofits, and I just really love serving and helping people. But I really wanted to stay home with my two sons that are 2 and 1. So that was the big motivating factor for me to be home, but then to have something I could do on the side as well, where it allows me a lot of flexibility. I can take on as much work or as little of work as possible, or as that I want. And so that was kind of the flexibility of schedule, and I can work from anywhere and be at home with my boys. So
Good.
yeah.
So what are your long-term goals with this business?
That's a good question. I'm kind of just taking it one step at a time. I'm not like, I don't want to grow like super fast, because again, my time is pretty limited with being at home with their ages right now. But I think eventually I would hire more copywriters and even editors, just to see, depending on the demand. Yeah.
What about starting the business and the experience you've had to date? What have been the obstacles, if any, have you come up against? And if nothing else, you talked about emotions and words and stuff. I mean, if you don't mind, kind of, what are the concerns or fears that you have in terms of the obstacles? What do you feel like are the big things to overcome?
Just
starting
like
a
in business in general. I think I kind of said it in the video, but like selling myself, I would say, is an obstacle in some ways. But also like having, I think, just your mindset with like being an employee for most of my life, going from that to being your own boss. There's a mindset shift that happens, because as an employee, you ask for permission. Someone else takes all the responsibility most of the time. As a business owner, you don't ask for permission. You set your own rates, and you're responsible. So it's kind of just that mental shift that happens.
Is it, I guess, tell me a little bit more about getting to be your own boss. I mean, you do get to set your own rates and your own schedule and time, but I also assume it means you wear a bunch of different hats too.
Yes.
So what kind of skills do you feel like you have to develop yourself for this venture, beyond what you're already bringing to the table?
Time management. Yeah, I think time management is the biggest piece, especially with, like I said, just being at home. Yeah, I think that's...
I guess, define the different hats that you find yourself having to wear now as a business owner versus, like you say, an employee. Mm-hmm. Usually it's very defined.
Yeah.
So what all, in starting this business, what all subjects around business did you feel like you had to get a handle on before you started?
Outreach and just developing your brand. The numbers, like the finance side of things, just all of the things that someone else usually does for you, and you just kind of say, hey, what do you want me to do? So just learning, yeah.
So have you done that yourself, or have you pulled other people in?
I've just done it myself, yeah.
Just educate yourself along.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. So I guess explain a little bit more in terms of who are your ideal clients? Who do you serve? Like, give us a little bit more insight into your actual services and the nitty gritty of what copywriting is.
Yeah. So I feel like that was like 3 questions, but no, you're. I guess ideal clients would be small business owners that just kind of like myself, but you're wearing a bunch of hats, and so you don't have time to kind of delve into some of the like marketing, sales things, your website, SEO, which is a lot of the back end of your website, and that helps build traffic to your website organically without you having to pay a bunch of money for ads. And that's a long game. It's not something that you just fix some SEO stuff on the back end and then overnight you have like 1,000 views or whatever. It is a long game, but as your website grows in like credibility, then people will come to your website and more. So copywriting is just building trust with your audience using words, and there's always a call to action, or there should be if it's good copy. So whether that's like throughout the copy or at the very end, just always having somewhere for people to click. So learn more here, or put your email here for a free opt-in or something like that. So.
Good. As far as that copywriting and who you're serving and things like that, what I guess what's the real? We talked a little bit about the opportunity, but what's a good example? Can you give us some good examples of maybe good copywriting or what you've seen or anything?
Well, these were like billboards that I just saw in the last 2 days, but so I guess it's copy, but one was like for a gym, and it was saying like have no gym imitation, like intimidation, but gym whatever how you say that. And so like if I hadn't been to the gym in 5 years and I was really intimidated to go to the gym, that is speaking directly to me, who is like, I'm fearful of going to the gym. But if someone is kind of selling that, hey, you don't have to have fear. Like we will work with you. We're welcoming. So stuff like that. And then there's another billboard, and it was saying, it was Wisteria Place, and it on the way here it talked about like stay young, like living here you can stay young. And so if I was like fearful of aging or like growing older, like it's speaking to that fear that I might have. So those are a couple of examples.
Good. And that's, I guess, it doesn't, like I think sometimes with copywriting is like a sales letter, and it can be 3 or 4 pages long, but you're giving examples even of just crafting the words.
Yeah, 5 words.
5 words or less.
Yeah.
So getting into that and stuff. I guess what might be helpful too is to understand can you give us an idea of what it would be like to work with you? What's the process to work with a copywriter?
Yeah. So we just have like a 15-minute call or a sit down, since this is local, and just talking about who your ideal customer is, your target audience, and just about your business in general. And then from there, kind of sending a proposal of what you're wanting. So if you're wanting like website stuff done, blogs help with SEO too for your website, building that credibility and that trust like we were talking about. So whatever you're wanting, and then I might come back with some suggestions as well, and have a proposal for you, and then you can either accept it or tweak it or whatever you want to do. And then
how much writing would the business owner need to do versus how much do you, like, what's the overlap or responsibilities that you offer?
So I would do most of the writing, but if there's like a specific like voice or way that you like things to be crafted, definitely taking that into an account. But yeah, I do most of the writing. Mm-hmm.
So they just come to you with ideas, and you're able to take it and run with it. Good. I guess digging in a little bit deeper too, as far as the process goes, I don't know how much experience you've had with different business owners and all, but do business owners usually know who their ideal client is or target market is, or?
Yeah, it just varies. I mean, I think some people are not specific enough. And so like if you're trying to reach everyone, you're going to reach no one. And I think that is a big piece. So
Yeah.
just being as specific as possible with who you're trying to target.
Is that something you can help people zero in on
Mm-hmm.
as far as identifying that target market and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
What other deficiencies do you see? Yeah. Need a fly paper. What other deficiencies do you see sometimes with business owners when it comes to what copywriting may help with? As far as, we talked about not knowing a target market or a deal market, but what about even just their message maybe in general? What do people struggle with?
I would say like being too vague or like even just on the website copy, most people are looking at websites on their phone. And so if it's not easy to read and concise, like if you're using a bunch of words that I have to like look up in a dictionary, that's not helpful. So you want it to be as easy as possible to read. And they even say like a 6th grade reading level because people are usually on the go looking at their phone. And like I don't have time to like go through a bunch of even text, like huge text. I just glance right over it. So,
but they have to be crafted well.
Yes.
Well crafted
Yeah.
words. Yes. So we've talked a little bit about your business and starting your business. Is there any other aspect to entrepreneurship that you have gotten insights into this short journey that you've been on so far, or maybe even from your from Trevor's experience and things like that? Anything, lessons that you've learned along the way about being self-employed?
Good one. I think like not over identifying too much with your business to where you're like getting discouraged if you don't. Like with outreach for copywriting, I was like, okay, I'm going to do some cold emailing. And I sent maybe like 5 or 6 cold emails. And then I just felt like, and I feel like it was from the Lord where he was just like, you just don't need to do that much outreach. Like I said, I set up a LinkedIn account and just being like, just put it into the Lord's hands and like see what he does. So I think, I don't remember your question, but just not putting all of your like identity in your business. Like obviously you want it to grow and you want it to do well and you want it to be successful.
But the failures aren't necessarily long-term detrimental. You can. I think that is very much a characteristic of an entrepreneur, is that they're not afraid of failure. And so, yes, if your ego's wrapped up in it and you fail, then it can be detrimental. But that was interesting. And so where does your faith play into? Because it is. You're taking some risks. You're putting yourself out there, things like that. What gives you that confidence to take this leap into entrepreneurship?
Yeah. Well, Trevor really helps me, but also Jesus helps me. But I think just knowing that I'm fully accepted by him. So like if man rejects me, it's not a total blow. Like if someone doesn't want to hire me, it's not going to crush me. Like it's going to be okay. So I think just not taking yourself too seriously too, like in the process of all of it. But yeah.
Again, that I think I wrestled with that even kind of maybe the opposite of that. But I got thrown into a family business where I didn't want to be defined as a paint salesman my whole life, and so I railed against that. But it is, your identity shouldn't be completely wrapped up in what you do. It is in who you are, for sure. So, so you talked a bit about as this grows and all, you'll probably need to hire other copywriters underneath you and stuff like that. Do you have any sense for the milestones of the business? You mentioned you're just going to kind of take it one step at a time, but how will you know what the next step is when
I get more time? No, I do plan on putting my kids in like a Mother's Day out in September, and so I think at that point I'll have a little bit more time during the week. But I I think I'm kind of, because my first priority is my kids and my family. So I guess as they get older, I will free up a little bit more time. But yeah, I'm kind of I'm like a one step at a time person because I can get overwhelmed.
So the business really is, you're trying to build a business that's really geared around your lifestyle, in a lifestyle type business.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. And do introductions. Okay. Anything else? Any insights or nuggets of wisdom before we open up the floor to questions?
I guess I would just say, like, with copywriting, it involves a lot of like psychology, and that's something that's really fascinating to me, just like why people do things. And people make decisions off of emotion first a lot of the time. So even like saying yes to Mike to do this, I was like, yeah. And then later I was like, oh gosh. And so your logic side kind of kicks in after you've made, and so that can happen with purchasing something too. So anyway.
Good. Yes. One other question is just, how would somebody know they need you? And like, I think about even as a gauge of, competition. So what's your perception of who competition, not anyone specifically, but who in general would be your competition, and where would someone identify that I need that for my business?
So like who my competition would be?
Yes.
I mean, I guess like other marketing agencies or like website people, but I don't know. And as far as like businesses knowing if they need me, I do like a website audit, and then I can help a lot of on the back end of things. So if you're needing help with like the description, so when people search you, you either have like an automated description that Google just like puts there, or you can like specifically put something. So, and it uses like keyword research to like help people find you on Google organically. So if you're confused, then you might need me.
Or not getting the results from your website
that
you feel like your website should be doing. And I think that's the thing too that I've always valued about copywriting is it's a cheaper investment than a salesperson, but it should do the same job. So it should be yielding you qualified leads that you can convert into purchases. And that's the thing. A lot of times with marketing, you get sold. You get so many impressions, or you get so many, maybe even get so many likes on Facebook and all. And the thing I've always heard that I love is I can't go deposit impressions or likes. So ultimately, whatever my marketing's doing has to lead to a sale and a transaction of dollars that I can put in my bank.
And that's why like emails are a really good way of doing that, because that's not going to change. It hasn't changed that much, but like Facebook and Instagram is constantly changing. And so,
the algorithms and visibility of it is not in your control too. So time for Q&A. Do you want me just to repeat the questions? So if you ask your question, I'm going to repeat it back, one for clarity and just to get it recorded. So do we have any questions, Mr. Thomas? So the question was, what are your rates and how do you charge for your services?
Yeah, so I charge by project. I do have some rates on my website, so bigcountrycopy.com. But I can also expand from that. So I have like the audit, the website copy, emails, and blogs on my website, and it has the price on the website. So you can look at that, but it is by project. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me. Do you work exclusively with clients, or if they are in a competitive field, do you work with different competitors? And how do you separate out and differentiate that service between competitors?
Yeah. So like for website stuff, if you were, that's a good question though, because I've thought of that. You might have different keywords for your website that your niche and your like specific target audience might be different than whoever you said. And so like the walking tour, I don't know if they're here, sorry if you are, but the Abilene Food Tour is kind of a competitor. And so our keywords might be a little bit different on the website than the Abilene Food Tour because it is a little bit different, even though it's still a walking tour. Like there's 2 walking tours. Ours is more geared towards like poetry, fun, like humorous, creative, history, and then there's this more geared towards like food and like experiencing food and a taste of downtown Abilene. So it just depends on kind of who your target market is, and then going from there on your keywords is going to be like the big thing. What people are searching for when they're trying to find you. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. And I would say that if you are just like your competitor, then you're in a price war and nobody's going to win that.
Yeah.
So the value even of just working with her, even if you have a competitor working with her, is finding that differentiation because that's what you're speaking about is you should differentiate yourself from your competitors to begin with. So you're going to have a little bit different demographic or something that you're going after to do it. And if it's not your customer base that's different, then it's your services that are different. And so communicating that to me is the problem with most marketing is it's very homogeneous. So, and most people market based on what they see their competitors doing. So everybody's ads look the same. And like I say, then everybody just shops on price.
Right.
So if you don't distinguish yourself in some way, it's the first one down the toilet drain.
And I'll never like disclose information on your competitor. Like, oh, they're doing this, so you better, like I'll never do that either.
So there's a confidentiality.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Industry.
I don't share any of that.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Kevin. Let me, so because for recording, so to reiterate the question was on the initial interview of the client, do you provide a document or something that lets them prep or prepare for your conversation so that they have some time to think about maybe some of the things that you want them to be prepared with, answers-wise?
That is something that I'm working on. I really want to do that because I do think it is helpful for them to be ready because it is just like a 15, 30 minute. It's not like a huge thing, intensive thing, that first conversation. But if you don't have an idea of maybe your target market or audience, I could definitely help you with that on the first conversation. But yeah, working on that. Mm-hmm.
One more. We have time for one more. It's got to be a good one. Ben, you got a good one? Oh.
Yeah.
One more question. I know we've got. Yes, sir. So the question. The question is, do you go beyond just the words and actually get into the technology end of website building and that kind of stuff, correct?
I'm not a guru in design. I've done a few, but if you want help, I can help. But I'm not going to say I'm an expert on design stuff.
So it's the words.
Yeah, the words.
Primarily.
Oh,
Quick. So what is going to be the secret sauce or the main ingredient for you to be uber successful in your enterprise?
Doing baby steps consistently. So being consistent.
And predictable.
And predictable.
Yeah.
Give Gina a thank you.